Hi, welcome to Stress, Pubs and Rock and Roll podcast. So, we should probably introduce ourselves. I'm Simon. This is...
I'm Kirsty.
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm right. It's early.
It is way too... Well, we've been talking about doing a podcast for a couple of months, and it's been moved back due to weather and just lack of sorting out diaries and all that kind of stuff. And now suddenly we've got two musicians up at 10 o'clock in the morning talking.
On a Sunday.
Easter Sunday. Should be in bed with Easter eggs. So, yeah, we will try and make it as upbeat as possible. But, yeah, it's tough. Musicians aren't supposed to be up this early.
No, it's not coded.
And we were both gigging last night. So, we know each other a little bit, don't we? We don't know too much about each other, and certainly people listening might know one of us or not know the other one. Let's do a little bit of introduction. So we know each other through doing a bit of music and open mics and stuff.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about yourself, Kirsty.
I've been probably singing, years, probably since I was about 12, and then gigging since I was 14.
That's early.
Yeah, well, get started early. Have your dreams shattered early,
But where were you gigging at 14? Because you can't get in pubs,
At my
right?
local community centre.
Brilliant.
Back in the day.
Has it escalated since then, or are you still on that scene?
It's still in the still in the community centre. It's gone up a little. I mean, Then since then I've grown up, and I went to ACM for a spell, and learnt a bit.
I see. I didn't know that.
Did you not?
No, I didn't know that. I went to ACM for a little bit.
Did you?
Yeah, I did indeed.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. So actually, for anyone who doesn't know what ACM is, it's the Academy of Contemporary Music down in Guildford, and good rep. It's a properly good established music school, that, isn't it? Don't know what we were doing there, but still.
Well, I was really
snuck in.
I was really surprised when they accepted me, because everybody else who applied, you have to send in a recording, and you have to fulfil criteria to get in, and I sent mine. But this is still back in 2004, I think, something like that. I sent a mixtape in on a cassette tape, and I recorded it on the tape player by pressing record and play. I was like, record that.
Of you singing?
Yeah.
With a backing track, or not over the radio?
No, not over the radio. Yeah, with what was ever on Radio 1 at the time. No, I had to. I think I did it with my guitar, actually. I think what happened was they opened the tape and they're like, "Oh, we ain't got time for this. Just accept. Just accept."
She's got to be alright. If someone's gone to the effort of making a tape, she must be alright. She's definitely not just push record and play on a tape recorder. Put her in.
Yeah, when I got there's all these other people, and they were like, "Oh yes, well, I went into a studio for days." I was like, "What?" In my bedroom with a Bush radio.
That's epic. Well, I cheated my way in even worse than that, because I didn't do the full-time course. So I'm not very much of a risk taker, right? So I finished school and went to uni, and I never really kind of did a gap. I'm scared of doing a gap year. I was scared of doing a gap year.
Why?
Because it's just, I don't like being out of my comfort zone. I can't be asked to go travelling, and I just like to know where I'm sleeping, right? But anyway, on the same vein as that,
I get that. Yeah.
I didn't want to take a complete year out or a couple of years out and go to music college, because I needed the money, basically. So I started working, and I did the part-time band stuff on a Saturday. But I ended up being there for 4 years. So I did guitar for 2 years, I think, and then singing for 2 years. So I kind of didn't even have to audition, is my point. I didn't even do a Bush recording.
Just straight in.
Yeah. Which was good. But actually, so I went, when I was a bit later, I went, was I 22, 23? And I reckon the average age of people on the part-time course was 13, 14.
Oh, crikey.
So I was like, yeah. Who wants to be in a band with their dad?
Come on, guys.
It's a bit creepy, but it was good.
Yeah.
So I didn't know you went to ACM.
Yeah, I had a really good time there. I mean, I know people who have had bad experiences. I know people who've had good experiences there, but I had overall. I mean, I stayed there for 5 years or something, so I must have had a pretty good time. And yeah, I was slightly older than the rest of my class. I mean, not to the extent where everyone was that young.
Not so quite as creepy.
Yeah, I was 19 when I went, and everyone in my class was 16, just come out of school. And that doesn't sound like a huge age gap, but it really is in terms of like your mindset. Even though like now, if I wouldn't hang around with a 19-year-old because obviously I think, oh, you're really, really immature. But at the time, I was like, my God, 16-year-olds are really immature.
Yeah, think how I felt. I think being a guy, and when most of the people are like 14-year-old girls, there's another creepy element to that.
Just pushing in the creepy vibes.
Yep. Anyway, that side.
Yeah.
That side. So yeah, okay. So you were doing. So you went to ACM, and then you joined bands. At this point, when you were 19, you're still doing rock stuff, right?
Yeah. So I did rock stuff for quite a while until I was about 24, I'd say.
Originals or
covers? Originals band. Cool. Yeah. It was it kind of developed. It started off as a rock outfit, and then it changed into a more dancey. We used to call it disco punk.
Nice.
And it's sort of and we changed our name a few times, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, and then after that, because it just got really, really intense, I actually stopped doing music for. I don't know, I stopped doing music in about 2010 and didn't start again until 2013.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so and I didn't even listen to music either.
That's really odd. And maybe we'll cover that in another podcast, because so one of the things I was asking a few people on Facebook recently is what topics they want kind of covered. And someone raised the question of kind of there's loads of different topics. One of them was kind of mental health, and I thought that's probably not upbeat enough for a first podcast, right?
Guys,
let's not go straight down that road. But actually, we're interesting you say that, because I had a similar experience. After my first band or my second band, I fell out with the band, which we'll go into at some point. I'm not sure whether. I'm strong enough at this early in the morning to talk about it right now. But I stopped listening to music completely. I didn't play guitar for, it was less than you, but it was like 9 months. And I didn't even listen to music. Like if it came on the radio in the car, I'd like turn it off and just completely walked away from it.
Yeah.
And then a couple of things happened that got me back in. And I haven't really looked back, but yeah, that's interesting. We should definitely explore that.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're doing rock.
Yeah, I was doing rock, and now I also did a lot of folk stuff kind of on the side. I used to do like comedy songs.
Nice.
You might not know that either.
No, I didn't. I'm learning loads.
So I used to.
You wrote them as well?
Yeah, I used to write. I used to actually be pretty okay at guitar, and then because I just stopped playing for about 6 years or something, because one day someone was like, oh, you should just get in a band and not bother playing guitar. So I didn't, and I stopped. And then like it used to be my go-to thing. I'd be like, no, guitar, me and the guitar. And then and then I used to write these stupid songs about terrible things that had happened to me and make a laugh about it. And it was really controversial stuff, like really, really, really like, oh, can you do that at an open mic? Not sure, but I did it anyway. I used to just actually fight my way to specifically do that, and I used to write songs about people who had upset me and sing it in front of their faces, and it was really obnoxious.
Niche
actually.
Genre, yeah. Wow, how to grow a fan base.
I've recently just started songwriting again.
Nice songs this time?
Yeah, no, they're nice songs. They're nice songs. Yeah, they're not just going around insulting people. I mean, the inner me wants to do that, but because I'm so bitter, but I can't. I'm trying to be more positive on my outlook on life. So,
do you know what, I'm imagining a really nice little folk EP now, and then just as a secret track, like 20 minutes after someone's finished listening, it's just the most vile onslaught of.
That's totally me.
Haha, lured you in.
It's like, yeah, no, definitely.
Nice.
That's how I'd roll.
Cool. And your new band, it's a soul. You just do covers, right?
Yeah, we just do covers at the moment.
Just do covers. I didn't mean that in a derogatory way.
You just do covers, don't you?
Yeah.
No, it's fine. No, I don't actually write any original material with any other musicians currently. There are some projects that I'm going to be working on soon, but I'm so bad. Like, I procrastinate so much. And I've been meaning to get one project off the ground for about, I don't know, 3 years or something. Actually, longer than that, because I actually came up with the concept of it 8 years ago. And I know, I'm so bad. That's terrible, isn't it? I don't know.
It's either going to be genius when it comes along, or you're going to go, yeah. This was so relevant 10 years ago.
Yeah, and now
this
it's just not. I'm just waiting for the right time. That's what it is. I'm biding my time.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I didn't realise how much I wasted my time until I had kids, and then you just got like, I see all these people with no kids. I'm like, what are you doing with your like spare? I could have like recorded like an album a week. I could have gone to the gym. I could have been like buff. I could have, and like I've just got no time. Like,
no.
Well, granted, I'm up at like 4:30 in the morning, but it's a bit difficult to like kind of do much when you're looking after a little one. But yeah, I'm so time poor now. It takes me ages to do stuff. But yeah.
I think you're pretty organised. I think you have to be than me.
Well, that doesn't sound like that's particularly hard, but I'll take that compliment.
Trying to be nice.
So you were gigging last night, right?
I was, yes, I was. Yeah, we were in Windsor.
So I had a gig last night, and it was a charity gig, and I was on last, and someone said to me yesterday, "Oh, you're like headlining." I'm like, "I'm not headlining. I'm on last." It's like the worst slot. Like you don't want to be on last because people are going home.
You want to be like penultimate.
Yeah, but I didn't. Yeah, it didn't bother me. But the point is, I was gonna play quite a lot of my original stuff last night. And I was having an hour all day about what to play. And then it got to like 10 minutes before I went on. And I kind of looked around and I thought, that's going to go down like a lead balloon. Like no one's going to be bothered. So I ended up just playing like the cheesiest upbeat covers I could possibly think of. And it was great. I loved it. But yeah, I think you have to do that. I think you have to read
you have to read
what's
the crowd.
Appropriate for the audience.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, sometimes it is funny to not do that. I'm just saying. I mean,
well,
if you're having the worst gig ever and no one even wants you, I don't know if you've ever had that, where you just felt like...
When no one wants me.
That's not what I mean.
Quite often after people have confirmed the booking, yeah, I do get that sense.
Well, I've had that loads. So we've turned up to a gig and the crowd have sort of not really been interested in music, and they've come over and be like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, but we'd rather just chat. Can you just can't like turn it down?" And you just sit there thinking, "Well, what am I here for?" So you just play something really obnoxious.
I did have that. I played an 80th birthday party last year, or the year before, and so bear in mind I've been gigging on my own for probably about the 4th year I've been like properly, like I say professionally. By that I mean getting paid, and and a reasonable standard. But the worst gig I've done in the last kind of 2 years was an 80th birthday party, and it was exactly that, right? So I got there, and the woman had been a little bit of a pain during the booking process. You just get a tone, a sense from her email that just this is going to be hard work. Mm-hmm. But I thought, no, it'd be fine. I got there, and yeah, it's an 80th. So there's a mix of people, right? It's like young people, quite a big substantial section of O.A.Ps, which is fine. You'd expect that at an 80th. But so yeah, the old people were like, "Oh, it's too loud. Can you turn it down?" And I'm like, I'm really soft.
Yeah.
I'm to the point where I can't really hear what I'm doing. Like, oh, it's too loud. We want to chat. So they were getting like really grumpy with me. And then all the young people were like, "Can you play this? Can you play that? Can you get up?" And I was like, "This is just, I can't win."
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing I can do here.
It's just either or, and then what can you do, really?
Yeah. It just was not appropriate.
No.
I can't remember what I played. I think I just went through about 10 song set of just covers that I liked. I thought, well, no, I was listening. Might as well try and get some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah. I don't really enjoy gigs like that, I have to say.
I've now got an upper age limit of what I book. I'm not going to do anything above 70 now.
Well, we did a 70th before. Me and Sam did a duo gig for a 70th, and it was the best email I'd ever got. I think I told you about it before at an open mic, and the guy, who was a really nice guy, booked us, but he was just so worried about everything. He was really, really worried. Everything had to be just so. And he said, "Oh, when you come in, can you just be really careful of the cake? Like, can you just not disturb the cake?" Like, as if me and Sam were going to come in, with our acoustic guitars and just smash the cake up.
To be fair, that's normally how we start our act. We bring on a cake.
Nosedive into it. I don't know what. Well, I was beside myself. "Don't worry, sir. We won't ruin your cake. We are quite respectful when it comes to people's parties, and the money that they've spent, we don't normally go into an establishment and
just smash a cake up for no reason.
Look, Sam, there's the cake. Quickly go and get it. Like, put it in the car. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It was pretty funny. We've totally gone off topic.
We have. We'll get back.
We'll reel it back in.
We will. Just on cake though, I've got a cake story.
Go on then.
It's not as good as yours, but it's a bit creepy. So, and I
why all your stories?
I'm
creepy?
almost. I know. I don't know. That will be a constant theme, by the way. That will be a constant theme of these things. Is that most stories involve me being either in creepy situations or coming across as creepy.
He's not a creepy guy, honestly. Oh, he's trying. Like, wow. Make your own decisions.
Let's not be too hasty to write that off. No, so I get really random requests, and we should do this in a different podcast probably, because I've got 4 or 5 of these really weird requests, and we probably should do one about weirdest places you've played or weird requests. But talking of cake, I got asked to go to some. I think they were European, which is not actually relevant to the story, but it must. The only reason for me saying that is maybe it's a custom in some European countries to have cake at midnight on your birthday, right? So this email from this girl, it's my husband's birthday. We'd like you to come round at midnight. There's only 2 of us in the flat. Come round at midnight, have a bit of cake with us, and sing us a song.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of my reaction as well.
A little bit weird.
So what, just one song? Yeah, just one song. Okay.
What?
It's a bit odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's a bit creepy. I told you it was creepy.
Yeah, I feel a little bit uncomfortable.
I did kind of want to go, well, that very much sounds like the start of some kind of swingers thing.
Yeah, it sounds a bit too...
It sounds a bit weird, doesn't it?
What are you going to do
What song would have it? Also, like, playing to 2 people was rubbish.
Yeah.
Like, I've played to... What's the biggest crowd you've played to?
Like 5,000 or something.
Wow, that's pretty good. I think mine's like 2,000 or something. But I'd be much rather, although it is a little bit nerve-wracking, I'd much rather play to like a big crowd than to 2 people or one person. One person's pretty horrible unless you're showing someone. If it's a musician, not too bad. But playing to 2 people's awful.
Yeah.
There's just like
it's awkward.
No atmosphere. Everyone's staring at you.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. And in their own house. And then, what would I do? Oh, thanks. See ya. Bye. Like it's just weird.
I just feel awkward just listening.
What point do you leave? I've had a bit of cake. Like, do I make my excuses now and leave? What's custom? It's just weird. It's just weird. And I said no.
Yeah, that is weird.
It isn't the weirdest one I've had, but I will save that.
What? That's not the weirdest.
No, that's not the weird. That's quite run of the mill.
That is not run of the mill. Oh my god. Who are you hanging out with?
Well, it's the internet, man. You put yourself on the internet, you get all sorts of weird requests. Yeah, I'm pleased I didn't do that, because that could have been the last time anyone saw me alive.
It could have gone horribly wrong.
It could have been.
You could be in a relationship with those people right now.
Oh, weird, like, kind of three-way marriage.
Yeah, like some kind of part-time lover thing.
Well, if they keep the cake coming, I don't mind. as long as there's cake on offer, I'm kind of alright with it. Apart from lemon cake, that can pee off.
Lemon cake?
Do you not like lemon cake? I don't like lemon cake.
I love lemon cake.
It's the worst atrocity in the cake world, I think. Why would you do that to a cake? I mean, cakes are lovely.
Lemon drizzle is...
Yeah, even the name. It just sounds weirdly...
Top cake.
It's just weirdly wet for no reason. It's just not...
Weirdly wet. I like my cake wet. Thank you. I think we, I like
getting us back on topic, Lemon Drizzle would be a great name for a band, would it not?
Yeah, that is pretty...
See what I did there? Segue back in.
Bringing it back in.
So we were planning, before we got onto the cakes and weird stuff,
weirdness,
which I promise you probably will happen again at some point very soon, we were going to talk about band names.
Yes, good and bad names, I suppose, for bands. And, you know, there's obviously loads of different genres of band names, you know, so we sort of touched on the discussion of band names for function bands or tribute bands, and, you know, where you can make the most of the puns, and, you know, if that might be easier or harder, I suppose, to create the band name that reflects what you do. But essentially, I suppose all band names do that as well. Are supposed to do that, aren't they? They're supposed to sort of...
There should be, I think there should be, you should be able to get a sense for what style the band is from the band name.
Yeah.
I think, although I'm probably think of loads of examples where that's not actually the case.
Yes. Yeah.
I hate puns. Well, no, I don't hate puns. Because your band's got a really interesting name, and I really like that because it's got a bit of a pun.
No one can pronounce it though.
No, I was going to say that actually.
No one can.
So I would have said Boogie Wookie. No, Boogie Wookie. No, I don't know. That's the problem. So, okay. So discuss. Is this a good band name? Because no one can pronounce it.
No one can say it. Everybody does. They say Boogie Wookie. And you're like, no, it's Boogie Wookie.
Boogie Wookie. Okay, that's fine.
So it rhymes like
Boogie Woogie.
Kind of. But less on that. So whenever, like, what I found is that everyone in Britain says boogie really weird. They're like, boogie. But they slow it down as well. They don't just go boogie. They go boogie. Like, they specifically slow it down to say it, and it's quite funny. We all stand there when, like, say we've got a compare.
Yeah.
And they compare.
Just waiting for him to. How's he going to pronounce it?
We always just stay there and we go, boogie wookie. We just know you're going to pronounce it like that. And
boogie wookie.
Yeah. So
okay, fine.
Boogie wookie.
Yeah. So the Wookiee, unless that doesn't, I don't know if that comes across just hearing it, but clearly a reference to Wookiee from Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
And and I like that. Anything with a Star Wars reference is fine in my book. It's a pun, and it's got a Star Wars reference. That's a good name.
Yeah.
I like that.
Shimmy and Chewbacca.
Which one are you? Do you have like names in within the band?
What do you mean?
Well, you have your own name, right?
Nicknames sort of things. Well, they can't be broadcast.
Discussed. Wow.
No, I'm joking. No, so they're mostly just swear words.
Pretty
mostly
much.
Insults.
Yeah, that's a running theme. I can sense with you.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
So so I guess the topic is what makes a good band name, or what's a good and what's a bad band name. But at what point do you need a name? That's another thing, because I've been in bands, right, that we've rehearsed for months and never done a gig. Do we need a name? I feel like, and I've also, on the controversy, I also had bands where we've been in bands for ages and done gigs and still haven't got a bloody name.
Oh my god!
Which is really annoying because they're just really hard to find. They're really hard to work out.
Yeah.
They all sound weird.
Yeah, no, they do. Unless, I think the band name is like, right, you know when you look at a house and you walk into the house and you know. It's like that. But you're like, yes, that is the band name for us. That's how we felt. Like, I mean, that's how I felt about any band names that we've had, bar one, which we normally do like a sort of vote, I suppose, on it. I'm really bad at deciding on band names and even coming up with band names. I'm terrible at it. Some people are really, really gifted at it. But I've also known, like, as you say, I've known people who have come up with the band name first. Oh, my band is called such and such. And I've, like, to be really honest, I have done that with this project that I've been doing for 8 years and, like, adding to it very, very slowly over that 8-year period. I came up with the name first because it encompassed what I wanted the band to sound like and what I wanted to be like. I sort of had the whole picture painted in my head. And I was like, the name of the band is this because this fits what I'm trying to achieve. But I've done...
And that's no bad thing.
Yeah, but so I've done it the opposite way round. I haven't done anything with it. I've secured my name essentially, because that's another thing, isn't it? You can't like the controversy of like using another band's name.
Yeah,
it's like
so
unwritten law, but it's not actually, is it? Because you can get in serious trouble, can't you?
Well, you can, and it does happen by accident. So Nirvana, there was another band called Nirvana. There was a '60s band in the UK called Nirvana, and obviously they weren't that big. Probably didn't make it stateside. So when Nirvana came out, there was a kind of legal, I would say, battle, a legal discussion. This band probably went, oh well, we didn't make much money out of our music, but Geffen are willing to give us some money to just use the name. So they were probably absolutely delighted. And also, I bet you people you remember Our Price? Yeah. So you go to Our Price, or like I say Our Price just because it was my local music shop. But you'd look through, wouldn't you, in the section of like, you go to Nirvana and you look through and have I got all of them? I bet you people bought the old Nirvana without knowing. So yeah, there's that. There's also, I did a gig in Reading a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know the guys, so I'm sure if I name check them on here and say that they've got a rubbish name, I'm sure it won't come back to haunt me. But there was a band playing, and they were a duo, and they were called Three Doors Down.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you can't call yourself
and
that.
They were like, we're called Three Doors Down. And I'm like, no, you're not. I'm pretty sure that's a big, famous American rock band.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That's just...
Like, and then they were... how's the best way to say it? No, I'm just going to say it. They were a bit old, so they may have not been... They might not have known.
Yeah.
But just some simple Googling. That's the first thing I'd do if I got a band name, is I'd put it in Google and see what comes up, right?
Always. Yeah, that's crazy. That's actually crazy.
That's like,
hi,
we're you two.
Yeah. Imagine. In fact, I want to do that. That's incredible. Wow. Oh my god.
I know that the Foo Fighters have played over here last year, and they booked some pub gigs under just a completely random name.
Did they?
Yeah, and got away because obviously they put Foo Fighters on the thing. They'd never get in the pub, and it would be ridiculous. But they just fancied doing a couple of
like just low key
pub gigs, and just found a new name. So actually, what I was going to say is there's a few names that I really like, and I'll say it, and you say if you agree or not. And you don't have to agree, but
we'll see.
So I've been in my old band were kind of rocky, so we were doing a lot of the rock clubs and that kind of stuff. Two bands that we played with at the time that were, I don't know if they're still together, but they were great bands, but brilliant names. Look Mum No Hands.
Yeah, I like that.
Always made me laugh. I think that's cool. It's really, you just know they're punk, and there's a little bit of maybe an innuendo there or whatever. 6 Days Till Sunday.
Oh, I feel quite sad about that.
Do not worry, it's still Sunday. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah.
It's the
alliteration thing.
Yeah, it needs to it needs to flow, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's why it's quite catchy.
Did you ever? So one of the ones that went round when I was at school, and they were a legit band. I don't know much of their stuff, but do you ever hear of W.A.S.P?
Yes,
Do you know what it stands for? Because that was the big thing when it was
sexual perverts.
Yeah, there you go.
I've got a couple of W.A.S.P albums.
Are they good? What a shocker!
What a shocker! It's pretty funny.
I feel like they're like proper hair metal, right?
It is. Yeah, it is. It's like cheese on toast with glitter. It's pretty good. Like the band name does what it says on the tin.
Yeah,
like it really does.
I like that because it's also the sort of thing you can get away with it. It's not like if they were just called "We Are Sexual Perverts," you wouldn't. You'd
be like, I don't want to listen to that.
Yeah, it's like, am I labelling myself? But I feel like you could say, Nan, for my birthday, can you buy me the new W.A.S.P album? We should do it. You wouldn't say the full name. Clearly, she wouldn't buy it.
No, exactly.
She might do, depending on what your nan was like. But Hasty Dixie, do you know them?
Yes, I've seen them.
Have you?
Yeah.
That's a great name. I think that's a brilliant name.
They're awesome. I first found out about them when I worked at this pub in High Wycombe called the Red Lion, and there was always a circulation of musicians there. And when I was sort of talking to them, one in particular, he was like, I've made you a CD of all this like music, basically, that I think you should check out because I think you would really, really like it. And there was a collection of all sorts on there. And it was about 3 tracks, I would say, Hasty Dixie. And I listened to it, and obviously it's bluegrass covers of AC/DC and some Led Zeppelin
and other stuff. I heard a Comfortably Numb. That is an atrocity, but I quite like it. But if you're a Pink Floyd fan, you probably hate it.
Yeah, if you're a what do you call it, purist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. I really liked it, and then they played at Sub 89 in Reading, and I just grabbed the opportunity to go. And I was really disappointed that the room was empty. Like, there was barely anyone there. What? And I was like, mate, you guys are missing out. Like, this is Hasty Dixie. They're freaking insane. And it was so good. Like, I had the best time. I was loving life.
I think they're good. I think they're really good. You got to take them for what they are. They're fun.
Yeah, definitely. And their band name is I don't know. I think it's really clever.
Yeah.
Really, really clever.
The Iron Maidens, have you heard of them? It's like full on like female rock band.
No,
they do like Iron Maiden covers, clearly, obviously, and other stuff. They're great, really good. And they've added 1 letter, but it's it kind of works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of you kind of know what to expect.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't turn out thinking, I thought they were a Michael Bublé tribute. Do you know what I mean? That is a bad name. I know that's his name. Is that his actual name?
Mickey Bubble.
Yeah, exactly. It's a rubbish name. I know it's your actual name, probably, but
Stage
Bublé,
name.
no one can do it.
Bublé.
Oh, don't get me started on stage name. So when is it appropriate to have a stage name? Because I feel like we're both decent musicians, and we've got we're not like just starting out. We've got good repertoires of stuff. We're getting good paid gigs. At what point do you go, yeah, I'm at the level where I could have a stage name? Because I see it load. I'd see it loads on the local scene. People are sort of, my name's actually this. I'm not going to say anything because people might be listening and defriend me, which is fine. But solo artists who give themselves a stage name, I struggle a little bit with it.
I know what you mean. I think you have to be of a certain. It's difficult to not be offensive to anybody because obviously everyone has their own choice. But
I mean, if you've got a really embarrassing actual name or a really long name that people aren't going to get, I get it.
Yeah.
But calling So
for example, like Bono or like.
Well, I mean, there's a whole other podcast.
Well, like maybe
Bono, discuss.
Perhaps that was a bad example.
Yeah, no, well, it is Easter, so we talk about Jesus,
Well,
Bono's bound to come up, given that he thinks, I wish he'd... Anyway, let's not.
Right, let's put the anger away and Move on.
I happen to quite like some U2 stuff, but yeah, Bono. And the Edge.
The Edge.
I mean, there's nothing edgy about him. That's the thing. Like, at least have a Slash. Slash is great.
Yeah.
Slash is great because it's kind of like.
We reckon that.
It just sums up. It's like that is a brand. That's good.
Yeah, he's got everything going, hasn't
he? The Edge. What is that?
I think he came up with that himself, didn't he?
Oh, well, that. What does that say? There's always the kid at school that come up with their own nickname.
No, it's not. No one calls you that.
I had a really... So I don't know why I'm offering this up because I could just gloss over this, but I'm
excited to hear this now.
This is a goodie. So at school, I decided... I was about 10 maybe at this stage. Yeah, probably about 10. I thought Simon was quite a boring name. And I thought I would spice it up a little bit.
Oh, God.
So... I thought, well, if I make it a little bit continental, if I make it a little bit French, that would be better. So I and my pronunciation wasn't great. So for 2 years, I insisted that everyone called me Simon.
Oh God.
Yeah. And do you know when it stopped? The day we had a sex ed lesson, and I suddenly went. Yeah, I don't want to be called Seaman anymore. Simon's fine. True story. I wish I'd made that up, but that is a true story. So yeah, I always feel like the kid at school who makes up his own, call me Legend. Let's not call you Legend. Let's call you Bellend.
I literally know someone who did that. I was like, no, you have to earn legendary status. You can't just claim it.
Exactly. It's not right. You have to be given and that's the whole thing about a nickname. Well, nicknames is different to band names, I guess, but you get given a nickname. Those band names you got some choice over the matter. But I feel a little bit like that with solo acts who have stage names. I played a gig. I don't know if he's still around, but I played a gig in Propaganda in Fleet. Nice venue, and I was looking at the lineup when I got there, and there was about 5 acts on, and there was an act on just before me called Tit for Tat. Okay. Now. Not the best name anyway, but it was one guy called Tit for Tat.
Oh, you think it'd be 2 people?
Exactly, that's what I was, tit and tat. Clearly, all we were left with was tit. Apologies to Tit for Tat if you are listening, but it's not right. It's not right. I do struggle with that.
Yeah, no, I think because you think that there's going to be some kind of banter maybe between 2 people during a performance.
I feel like there needs to be.
If that's going to be your name, like that's going to be your thing.
Yeah, tit for tat seems to be like you should be, exchanging kind of insults with. Oh, not insults, but there should be a bit of banter. Yeah,
like Chaz and Dave, for example.
Yeah.
You know that it's 2 of them.
I think that their actual names were probably Chaz and Dave, though.
No, I know.
It's probably where that came from.
I know that, but like, what I mean is that you know that there's going to be 2 people, and then they're going to
be... Yeah. If one of them turned up, you'd be like, oh, where's Dave?
Yeah, exactly. Which one's this one? Like. Yeah,
I know what you mean. Duos is hard. I mean, I've been in duos where, frankly, we're only a duo because the rest of the band's left. And we've kept the same band name for gigs.
Wow.
Yeah. But I've also been in duos where we've just gone. I mean, I play fairly regularly, or not regularly as I'd like, with a girl called Shu. And we just always struggle to think of a name. We called ourselves Concept for a while because that was our band. But then there was only 2 of us, and I hate that name anyway. We just call it Simon and Shu. And it's not really unoriginal, but it's like...
Well, it does what it says on the tin.
Yeah, we've just never come up with a better name.
Yeah, as I say, I'm terrible at coming up with names. I do happen to... Sean in our band, he's like the name guru. Like, he really is. Like, he comes up with these band names, and he's got a list of band names, and he just adds to the list all the time. And they're incredible. Like, some of them are really, really inappropriate. Some of them are funny. Some of them are a bit dark. But they're all like really good, and you just look at it and you're like, oh, that's a talent in itself, I think.
You have to be good at it.
Definitely.
I think you have to be not too self-conscious either, because you can talk yourself out of a name pretty quick. as soon as you get one dodgy reaction, you have to kind of own it.
Yeah.
I think. Let's test you here. So I've got some band names. You might actually heard of these bands. I literally just went on iTunes, right, and I've just gone into genres. See if you can pick. So this is the sign of a good name. Can you pick the genre from what they're called?
Oh, we'll see.
I'll give you a couple of things. Do you want me to tell you what the genres are or not? Narrow it down a bit, or do you want to just go for it?
I guess I'll just go for it.
All right. Okay. These are proper bands, so you may well have heard them. In which case, good for you, because you know the answer.
Awesome.
Black Peaks.
Black Peaks.
Yeah.
It sounds maybe kind of indie rock kind of thing. I feel like maybe a bit electronic indie.
Yeah. Well, I haven't clicked on them, but I don't know what they sound like. But they are in the rock category. Yeah. I reckon the black is fairly standard rock territory, isn't it? Yeah. What about Old Dominion?
Old Dominion.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like maybe a smallish band, maybe like not country, but maybe like folky country.
You're good, man. They're a country band. They are a country band. Okay, what about? I'm gonna give you
a really hard one.
A couple more. Oh, I've got a hard one. But I'll save that one to one after next. What about Columbus?
Columbus. So see, I think that's really ambiguous. Columbus. I feel like maybe pop, I guess. That doesn't really define.
Yeah, true. I think it's a bit weak.
Yeah. I mean, I think they intended it to sound really epic.
Well, they're in the... According to iTunes, they are in the rock category. So we'll see. What about this one? This is hard. Dave. What category are Dave?
Dave. What would Dave do? Oh my God.
I'll tell you what, he's in the same category as Little Dicky.
It's going to be like punky silliness, comedy punk, maybe British pub punk. Way, knees up, Dave. Like, that's how I feel. Like maybe Dave's their dog. I don't know.
Amazing. I kind of want that to be the case. Apparently they're a hip hop band.
What?
Or yeah. Well, Little Dicky, that would be more in the hip hop genre, I guess. Although, you know, like hip hop, they always call themselves Little something, don't they? I feel like Little Dicky's probably a bad choice.
Yeah, why would you call yourself Little Dicky?
I don't know.
I associate the word Dicky with Dickies, which is skate.
Okay, yeah,
like
I see.
Skatewear and
I was
that
wondering where you were going with that.
I associate it, no. But then I guess also on the skate scene there is like hip hoppy kind of influences from like, you know, old school funk and stuff. So I suppose maybe I can see the tenuous link.
I mean,
I just feel like if you're, I don't know.
You can spell it. That's the advantage to Dave and Little Dicky is you can definitely spell it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to forget that. I suppose it's good on that front. I will remember that there is a band called Dave, but
I think it's important to you've got to be able to remember it and you've got to be able to spell it. I reckon with a good name because I see so many bands that, and I can't give you any examples for the reason that I can't remember the blooming name. But like in pubs and stuff, they go, "Oh, we're called," blah, blah, and it's like, sorry, I didn't quite catch it because you've still got the reverb on your microphone, so any talking in between songs just is inaudible. But also, like, if I can't remember it quickly, then how am I going to look it up when I get in? Or do you know what I mean? Or say to someone, "Oh, I saw so and so last night; they were great," and not be able to spell it as well. So I quite like them. There's a band, but I kind of know how it's spelled. P-Virus or Virus. Like, have you heard of them? They're really good. They're like a rock, female-fronted like rock band. But I have no idea how you pronounce it. P-V-R-I-S.
I have no idea.
No, yeah.
I have no idea.
That's annoying.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Because you can't look them up.
Yeah, no, it needs to be accessible. We had loads of troubles with terrible, I just hit my elbow. That hurt. We had a band. Well, it was the same band. We changed the name several times because nobody could pronounce the name. They couldn't figure out how to spell it. They didn't know what it was. And originally it was the Vintones. That's what the band...
Vintones. Vintones.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a play on vintage and tones. And that was what it was supposed to be. And it sounded like... The band sounded like the name. They they did go together. The band was like garage rock with, you know, that kind of 2007 sound, you know.
Classic 2007.
Yeah, like, I swear to God, if you listen to bands that were circa 2007, it sounds so... You're like, whoa. That, like, that was a thing.
Was it a turning point, do you think?
It hasn't aged well, I would say. It was really... bands like the Towers of London and stuff like that. Do you know that kind of era kind of...
Vaguely.
Thing? Yeah, see, they're so unmemorable. But if you hear the music, you're like, oh, yeah, that thing... That thing that was going on. And then nobody could pronounce it, and they were calling us the Vimtos, like as in the drink.
Well, that's the first thing that popped into my head, was the drink.
The drink. You think, Vimto, like
no, we're the Ribena berries.
Yeah, and you're like, no, not like that. The Vine Tones, got called the Vine Tones quite a lot. Because obviously there was a band similar. The Vines were really big at around that kind of time. A bit earlier than that. They were sort of 2001-ish, I think. Around that era, it was just, so we got called the Vine Tones, and it was just getting, like, they printed it on posters wrong, so no one could even find us when they wanted to, and it was just really stressful, so we just, right, let's change it, and we changed it to Catch Me I'm Naked.
That's good. I see you remember that.
Yeah, so we just felt it was
That's
better.
A bit of a shift in branding, though. See, Catch Me I'm Naked sounds to me like more of a punk band.
Yeah, and it was like a silly punk outfit kind of thing, and then because we changed all the music we did as well, we changed everything. We changed our style, we changed the way we dressed, we changed our image, we changed the style of music that we were playing. We went more dancey, more punk, rather than this rock thing.
Yeah.
So it was less guitar solos and more sort of just, let's just do sort of repetitive licks to get people sort of moving, rather than standing there ostracised and feeling a bit weird. You know when guitarists take really long solos and everyone stands there like, cool.
Yeah, it's fun for the person playing it. It's not that fun for everyone else. When we were in our rock band, there was quite a few songs. I mean, Ivan was writing all the songs, so it's like, I'm going to give myself 2 solos. There was quite a lot of songs where I had like 2 solos. Yeah, it's a bit up yourself, isn't it? I enjoyed it.
All right, Slash, calm down.
Yeah, well, they weren't necessarily good. I didn't say they were good solos. I just said there was a lot of them. What it lacked in quality, there was definitely made up for in frequency. Yeah, that's sort of
quantity over quality.
That was our niche, man. Frequent bad songs. No, they were pretty good. They were pretty good songs. There was a few that were bad. We had some bad names though. I've been in some. There's probably been like 2 bands. I've been in probably like 5 or 6 bands, and I'd say there's been probably 2 good names, and they're a little bit debatable. There's been some shockers.
Yeah.
So the first band I was in was named after our other guitarist. He had a turtle or terrapin or whatever. I imagine it was probably terrapin. Turtle would have been a bit big, and it called Lanigan. And so we were called Lanigan's Tank because that was his variant, and I quite like that. That was all right. We were like a grunge band and stuff. Anyway, they carried on. I think I got kicked out, and hence the story from earlier. But we'll go into that later. And then I joined another band, and they already had a name, and it was a terrible name. This is the worst name of any band I've been in, and they were called Tin Cushion.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Look at the enthusiasm for that. Tin Cushion.
Tin Cushion.
He was like, no, because it's like a play on words. I was like, no, I get it. I'm fully aware. It sounds like pin cushion, right? Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's the gag. Okay, it's not even a gag.
It?
It's just
what?
It's just rubbish. What kind of brand are you putting forward with tin cushion? Like,
I feel like
we're hard, but we're quite comfy as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I feel like I've just got this vision of like a cushion on a sofa that's made of aluminium foil.
It's punnage for punnage's sake. It's rubbish.
It's pretty
That was pretty bad. And then the same band kind of evolved into Nine Signs, which is to date my most successful outlet. We did pretty well. We got to play, like, you know, we headlined Leicester Square on a Friday night to like 2,000 people and all that kind of stuff, and that was really good. And Nine Signs was okay. There was a little, it grew into a brand.
Yeah, I feel like because it rhymes almost.
Yeah.
It's got that slight rhyme to it. Nine Signs. That's quite easy to remember.
The only downside was it spelt with a...
With the number 9,
yeah,
or like the actual spelling of it.
And we actually kind of spelt it... Well, we confused matters because we spelt it on our website and on our T-shirts and stuff with the letters. And then we had a logo that had a big 9 in it.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, which looked like that film... was it called Signs? What was the horror film thing?
7. No.
You picked on. Was it E.T.? You talking about E.T.? No, I'm not.
What's going on?
Clearly, I'm talking about the film called Signs. I think it was called Signs, something like that.
I've never seen that.
Oh, okay. Well, it had a logo. I believe you mean the Goonies. No, I don't.
I think you'll find.
Yeah, we had a logo, but it looked like the one from the film, which is a bit of a shame. But that Nine Signs was quite cool. That was a half decent name. And then we kind of all disbanded. I started up a new band, and we never got a good name. Actually, no, it was a duo. We had a duo. So the singer, a good friend of mine, Nikki, who was the singer in Nine Signs, we had a duo after that, just me and her, for a couple of gigs, and we were called 50 Miles East.
Okay.
Which I took from a lyric in a Counting Crows song, which I really like. I'm probably my favourite band. Yeah. And I quite like that, 50 Miles East. And then when I did my album, I kind of liked that, but I didn't want it to be necessarily associated with that. And also, I didn't want my album to be a complete, like, taking something completely from a song. Yeah. So I called my album 40 Miles West. See what I did there? See what I did?
Clever.
Changed the direction. Adjusted the distance.
Nice.
But for me, 40 Miles West made a lot of sense because actually from starting the album to finishing the album, I'd actually physically moved 40 Miles West as well. So that kind of makes sense. But 40 Miles West was all right.
So it was relevant to you as well.
Yeah, but the band I went on to form there was called Concept. And I hated the name. It kind of stuck. We thought, well, we'll do a first gig. It was one of those things where we got to the first gig, didn't have a name. Oh, let's just call ourselves like Concept. And the website was like Concept Rock, which makes you sound like a prog rock band. And there's nothing concept-y about it at all.
It sounds like it was going to be an epic sort of musical experiment almost. Do you know what I mean? Like, concept is it's quite pretentious.
That's it. It's pretentious. And we weren't writing that sort of stuff. We were writing cheesy pop rock with a bit of country harmonies and that kind of stuff. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. So yeah, I'm not being in too many good bands. The only other one that springs to mind is like, I like it when bands have like an in joke in the thing. So there's a local band they were called Nancy Johnson. And there wasn't anyone in the band called Nancy Johnson. They were a punk band. But that's kind of a cool name for a band. And they split up, and they split up as bands do. They split up pretty badly, and all hated each other. And this one guy who left got the blame for like killing the band, Nancy Johnson. So the remaining members went on to form a new band called Who Killed Nancy Johnson. And actually, they've done a lot better than Nancy Johnson. I don't quite like that.
No, that is good.
Because Who Killed Nancy Johnson is quite a. It's like there's a story around that. There's a. But obviously the story that the actual reason for it probably is more of an in joke.
Yeah, I like it though. I like it, especially I think it's quite nice for fans to figure out the little stories behind the band names. Like, you know, one of the biggest, like, I suppose, most famous example that I can think of is Biffy Clyro.
Yeah, I did. What's the story behind that?
The story is that they had a biro with Cliff Richard on it. And they were like, and they used to say, "Can you pass me the Cliffy biro?" And
that is amazing.
And then they swapped it round to the Biffy Clyro. So instead of Cliff Richard.
Is that true?
I am led to believe
hope
that
that's true.
That is true.
That is the best. That is. I've never heard that story. That's really good.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? But yeah, we used to joke about it quite a lot. Yeah, but apparently, yeah. So I think that's pretty cool because obviously, as a fan, you're like, what? Because Biffy Clyro, none of that is a word in any way, shape or form. It's just randomness. So, yeah, like, to get to that, how did they get there? And, yeah, it's quite interesting to find that out. I mean, when somebody told me that, I think it was my friend, when we were at, oh, crikey, what was it called? It used to be this little festival, Buck and Skit.
Buck and Skit. Do you know what? Because the Biffy Clyro played on Buck and Skit,
right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We played on the same bill, or we certainly played the same year on the Buck and Skit bill.
Oh, what, at Peppard?
I can't remember where it was now. I think it might have been, yeah.
Amazing.
But yeah, Nine Signs were on the bill because I don't think we were actually on the same lineup or the same day or whatever. But I always used to say, "Oh, we were on the same festival as Biffy Clyro." You know,
you're always there.
We opened for Biffy Clyro. Like, every time I tell it, it gets worse and worse. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, we were on stage with. They supported us.
They supported us. Oh my god. Yes.
Buck and Skit. I remember Buck and Skit. That's a blast from the past. Are those guys still around? Like they?
No, not anymore. I think they've sort of gone their separate ways and moved away and doing their own thing. And you know,
they were quite good. I mean, they were definitely good for the local music scene. They gave us quite a few chances. They gave us quite a few like openings and gigs and stuff. We played quite regularly for those guys in Maidenhead. Now, anyone who knows Maidenhead knows it's not the cultural centre of the universe.
No.
But venues tend to come and go quite a bit. But there was one on the corner. It was called Bar Soviet, but I think it was called Bar Soviet when we played there. But
it was Fats.
It turned into Fats. Was that afterwards?
That was afterwards, and then it turned into Z Bar.
And is it still there? Is it like closed?
I think it's closed now. I think it's closed.
But so we did a gig there. In fact, actually, this is my only other claim to fame, apart from the fact that Biffy Clyro opened for us. The only
which definitely happened.
Which definitely happened, if I say it enough. The only other claim to fame I have is I outsold Jason Donavon.
What?
Yeah. Now he probably wasn't at the height of his career. I'm going to throw that bit out there because he was playing in Maidenhead on a Wednesday night. And he was playing in Chicago Rock.
Oh, I was going to say, at Chicago.
My
goodness.
With I believe, probably, I didn't go because I had a gig, but he probably had a backing track. I imagine he turned up with his iPod.
With his phone. Plug that in, mate.
And
oh my goodness.
I can only imagine, yeah. I mean, what I imagine would be the really, really bad bit about that was he wouldn't have even had Kylie to do
especially for you.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? He's probably doing some kind of duet, how sad is that? He's doing a duet to an iPod of someone who's clearly now still really famous.
That's really harsh.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, he played on the same night, and we got way more people.
Wow.
I did hear 2 people in our gig say, "Oh, let's go next door and kick the shit out of Jason."
Whoa.
So we did lose it. I know, which is harsh. I mean, he's had it bad enough. He's playing Chicago's in Maidenhead on a Wednesday night, right? But yeah, we outsold Jason Donavon. Obviously, we split up fairly soon after that, and he kind of got back to my phone's ringing. It's Jason's lawyers.
Yeah, they know.
It's we've done for libel on the first podcast. It's yeah. I mean, he clearly had a career after that. So one thing we should do probably before we wrap this up is talk about band name generators.
Yeah.
Because that was always one of the things that we always used to do whenever we started a band. Like there's stuff online. I mean, there's loads more. There was always websites online to help you get to like.
Yeah, I've definitely used them before. I've used them for purposes other than finding band names as well. I've used them for ideas for. This is going to sound really ridiculous, but costume ideas for themed parties. I've used them for that.
Okay.
Really
I
randomly.
can see where you're going.
Just because they're so random. And I've also I remember we've done them as a group effort. We've all just got the laptop while we've, been drinking. But let's just go on a band name generator just so we could have a laugh. Because some of them are so ridiculous. And then they're so ridiculous that you actually go, oh, actually, that could be a goer.
I think you need to take yourself out of your comfort zone. It needs to be something really left field. And you go, oh, we can work with that.
Yeah.
It's got something in it that we can do.
Yeah, I think often they can lead to other ideas. So if it's like it generates the name and the name is terrible, but there's an element of that name that you like, I think then that could be a good starting point.
Yeah, that's that's definitely important.
Yeah, so you could be like, oh, actually, I do like that part of what that came up with because I wouldn't have been able to think of that, and then I can add to it, in an appropriate way, create what I want to actually create.
They do say you're more creative when you're being negative than when you're trying to think of good stuff. So it's easier to think of bad ideas than it is to think of good ideas.
Yes, I agree.
So one thing, I mean, this isn't music related, but one thing they say to do when you're doing brainstorming. So if you're gonna design a brand new concept for a shop, right? It's difficult because you immediately go to like what's already out there and you build stuff. If you think of what is the worst possible shop you could be, and you start to brainstorm that, and what would it be? It would be like, I don't know, you can't find anything. It's got a really horrendous name. It smells really bad in there, everything's like really expensive. So you do the brainstorming around that, and you get the concept of what is a really bad idea, and then you just go through and reverse everything, and it works really well. So like, in that example, I forgot what I said now, but it would be like, it would smell really nice. So then you go, oh, well, that's cool. Why don't you have like a different smell for each department? Like, so if you're in toys, maybe it smells like old toys and it brings all this nostalgia back. And then I don't know, like the clothing vintage bit could smell like like mothballs. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But like you would have never got
oil.
But you would have never got there had you just sat down and gone, okay, what's a good idea?
Yeah.
It just takes you out of that comfort zone and so
actually a really good idea.
Yeah, it's quite good. So let's just try it. I've got a couple of things. This is called bandnamemaker.com.
Awesome.
It's I don't know how good this is going to be. It says our tool is useful for coming up with cool band names for rock, punk, emo, and other styles. So obviously it's basically just good for rock, punk, emo, I would imagine. And it just asks you to put one word in. If you like, type in your own word, phrase, and our engine will randomly use that in its generation process.
Oh, okay.
And incidentally, there's an advert for a lawnmower underneath, so I'm not sure that's to do with my cookies or perhaps it's gone. Well, do you know what? If you're looking for a bad band name, you're blatantly middle-aged and you're starting a covers band. So how about a lawnmower?
Audience down.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So what should we do? What genre do we want to do?
Genre, I reckon indie might be quite interesting.
Indie?
Because you can have really happy indie, or you can have really moody.
Okay, yeah. So what's a really I like the moody thing. What's a really what word can we put in that?
Something like cloud or soul or. See, this is where my terrible like.
I'll tell you what. Let's put it in, if I can spell it. Eclectic Cloud, which actually is not a bad name anyway. But see what it comes back with.
Like I feel like we're doing the work for it.
Yeah, no, I know. It's now gone on to some kind of random. I've now gone down a wormhole.
Oh, where are you?
No, I'm signing up for an account at Betfred.
Simon is lost on the internet. It's happened.
Ooh, okay. Eclectic cloud of... I can't even pronounce it. What's that one, top one?
Eclectic cloud of pseudo.
Yeah, see, it's the P. It's the silent P that did it.
Yeah, see, I think that sounds like magicians.
Eclectic cloud of pseudo. Yeah, it does. It does sound like I'm about to pull, I don't know, like a rabbit out of a...
Indie magic act.
That is a good... Do you know what? This is... Yeah. Earthly eclectic... Yeah, that was okay. It wasn't... Ooh. So, okay, so I'm going to give up with that because what is blatantly happening is it's just trying to take me to... hello, I've got a dog on my lap. It's blatantly trying to take me to adverts. So that was interesting. We've got a magician's act sorted.
Yeah.
Right, let's try another one. This is Word Lab. So this is band name generator. So I reckon we should go for something rocky this time.
Yeah, okay.
What's a rocky name? Something like... Dragons are always quite rocky, aren't they? Dragons.
That's a certain type of rock.
Okay, well let's not go full on dragon. Let's go. Let's go gecko. That's a nice dragon.
No, gecko.
Gecko's good.
That's kind of like stone or rocky.
Yeah,
like
I like that.
Desert rock thing. You know, like Queens of the Stone Age. That kind of vibe, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, let's just type gecko. And how did it get to that? So the name it's come up with is Popcorn Logic.
Popcorn Logic. That sounds like a kind of poppy electro synth band to me. Yeah. Like I just feel like they do covers of like Mario songs.
Yeah, I feel that's good. So I think whatever you type into this thing has no relevance to what comes back. So Mr. Frenzy is the next one we've got.
Frenzy. He sounds a bit scary.
Oh, this one sounds like a Gristle Gang.
Oh no! Oh god!
That's
ew.
That sounds like something. I don't know. That's either a
you
really
can get
bad
your teeth
hip
into, or no, or not.
Oh, hey, that's quite cool. I like that one.
Background Jesus.
Yeah,
that's pretty.
That's kind of like 90s kind of you know. There's like the Jesus lizard, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Clearly, obviously, I've just latched onto the word Jesus there, but Jesus in the Mary chain.
Yeah, no, that sounds quite kind of maybe a bit grungy.
Yeah, quite like. Maybe that's why I like it. That's chocolate bondage.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I mean, that makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, same.
Just from a sort of cleanliness point of view. I'm like,
yeah. Who's going to clean it up?
Yeah.
I feel like if a band came on the stage and said we're chocolate bondage, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to the bar.
I'm in the wrong club.
Yeah. I'd just be like, oh, I just feel like their music's going to make my skin crawl.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it probably wouldn't, but...
I'd love them to be like some kind of classical, really like highbrow music. Yeah. Turd cribbage? I mean, this is just weird. This is... turd cribbage. Wednesday morning panic. Picnic. I see what I've read.
Yeah.
I read panic. Wednesday morning picnic. Wednesday morning panic actually is better than Wednesday morning picnic, I think. Okay, well this seems like an appropriate one to end on. I'm going to let you read that one out.
Oh my friend. Vaginasaurus. They're a feminist band. There's two of them. They've got a drum machine. And
yeah, I can see it.
One of them's got an undercut.
Yeah,
they just shout a lot.
Is it Pussy Riot? Who was the...
Pussy Riot, and then there's Chicks on Speed, isn't there?
Chicks on Speed. Oh my god, I saw them. I think it was Chicks on Speed I saw. They supported Chili Peppers.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Did you go to that gig?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were not good.
No, they weren't. I just remember Chicks on Speed. Like, that's all they said.
Get off.
Chicks on Speed. Chicks on Speed. That was their song. And I was like, is this what I've paid for? Are you kidding?
You know it's bad when like Flea came out afterwards and like told everyone off for being horrible to them.
Don't be mean to them. Don't be mean. They're our friends.
Yeah. Get better friends. They were not. That is. I felt really bad in a way though because they died, like on stage. Not physically died. Might have been slightly less awkward, but yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible. That was a low moment.
That was a low moment.
I kind of feel like someone needs to become Vaginosaurus now.
Vaginosaurus. It does sound like something you'd probably want to ring up and check out from a medical perspective.
I can't come in today. I've got Vaginosaurus. Sorry. I know I had it last month, but.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think it works. I think you've got to be the right band to pull that name off.
Yeah, I can really see it.
God.
Not a vagina, obviously, but the whole band concept. I can see it. I can see these two women with one's got a Korg or something, and.
Can I just point out for anyone who doesn't know what a Korg is? It is some kind of keyboard. It's not something else you want to ring up about.
No. That's what you put in the Vaginosaurus. So yeah, I can just see that like a synth or something.
Yeah, what are those little square? This is my musical knowledge is great in this genre. The square pads, and you touch them and they make like.
Oh, chaos pad.
Is that what it's called? Chaos pad.
I mean, you have triggers in it, and you hit it, and it does like woo woo and does crazy sounds and stuff.
I feel like they should have one of those.
Yeah,
or a keytar.
Yes, a keytar. In fact, they've got an array of instruments around them. They just have a backing track playing constantly that just goes like that, and then they've got a Casio, and then they just bring the Casio keyboard out and just do like da 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 da, and then just scream like pro-feminist messages over the top of it, like free bleed. I feel like that's their thing.
Yeah, I can see it.
I'm all for it.
Okay, so we're starting a new band. Is the outcome of the last hour. It's
Yeah, I feel that's good.
Well, hopefully we've helped. People come up with ideas. So what's the summary is that those band name generators are rubbish.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel like they're good only if you haven't formed a band yet and you were completely open to different types of genre. Yeah. Like, I feel like if you already knew what your music was, I ain't going to give you a good name.
No. It only help you if you, you come up with the name and then you think, right, what goes with that name?
Well, we turned up at the studio. We were going to play, we were going to learn Sex on Fire, but we came out as some kind of pro-female rights kind of female rock band.
We've just made someone's dream come true.
Exactly. So I feel like we should wrap up. We should wrap up, and we'll be back with a different topic and no doubt more creepy stories.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye.